Welcome to Living Well with Ann Beal. Our show is a health show, a lifestyle show, and an empowerment show rolled into one. Get ready to hear some stories of success, healthy living tips, and suggestions to get motivated and live your best life. Now, here is your host, Ann Beal.
Hi, good morning. Welcome to the show today. I have a beautiful young lady on today to talk about young ladies in the shooting sports. Her name is Alexis Duncan. Alexis, welcome to the show today.
Thank you for having me.
We are interested in the fact that you love to shoot. Mm-hmm. Now, do you shoot handguns or rifles or shotguns?
I can shoot all three. I prefer shotguns. I shoot competitive trap, but I can shoot all three and have competed in rifles and shotguns.
I wanted to have Alexis on today because the rising number of women having guns has increased in the U.S. It used to be in 2012 down to what they said was 36%, which is more than what most people realize. Mm-hmm. But now they say it's all the way up to anywhere from 38 to 43%. Mm-hmm. And so more and more women are owning guns. Mm-hmm. And so it's funny because most people think that gun owners are 50-year-old white males.
Right.
Would you agree?
That's the stereotype of it, yeah.
And they all live in Texas.
Yeah, and ride horses.
And ride horses, yeah. And so she has a very exciting life and has grown up in a family of people who have your father and your grandfather, right?
And brother, yes.
And brother. And they're all award-winning shooters. Correct. Is that what they call you? Marksmen or shooters?
Shooters.
Now, marksmen are what? What are marksmen?
I don't know.
Because I think they're like, when they talk about, like, maybe it's long distance.
Yeah, I can see
shooting.
that.
Except you showed me a video where you shot a target 1,000 feet away.
1,012 yards away. Yeah. Yards.
That's
you can't see it.
No. In fact, when I was watching the video, I thought, well, you just said it's very far away. How could I see it?
Yeah.
And then I heard it go quiet.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, I heard
Ding.
after a long ways, ding. I went, oh my gosh, she hit it. That's amazing.
6 seconds for the sound to travel back.
Yeah, so that's very exciting. And so I wanted to have you on to talk about women and shooting and how important it is for women to learn to shoot.
Yeah.
And I know that women are smaller than men in general.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say? Mm-hmm. So how important do you feel that it is for women to learn how to shoot?
I mean, you don't have to be trained to do something professional and compete, but learning how to handle a gun in case that situation occurs or it comes down to that would be a good thing to know how to do, not maybe to the extent that I do it, but in case you ever do need to use it in a situation, that'd be good, yeah.
So how old are you?
22.
22. Mm-hmm. Okay. And she's very petite.
Yes. I'm only 120 pounds.
She's 120 pounds.
Soaking wet.
She's beautiful, and she can shoot like crazy. And so she has competed since, how old were you, like 4? 6?
I've been drug out with my dad to gun shows and you shoot since I was in a stroller. He sent me out there. But started shooting actually probably 11, but been around guns ever since I was born, all my whole life.
So where are you from?
I was born in Kansas, but they got me to Texas as soon as they could. So we moved here pretty quick. I came when I was probably 5 or 6. So.
Now, your whole family's here, too, though. Your grandparents are here, too?
Correct, yeah.
So they all came?
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool, because a lot of people move and their parents don't.
Right.
And so the kids don't get to grow up around their grandparents.
Right.
So that's really awesome. Okay. So you started at 4, or when you were in a stroller, that would be like not even a year.
Yeah.
You've been going.
Right.
And you're familiar with all handguns, all kinds of rifles and shotguns and everything. Mm-hmm. So why for you? Because you told me you favor rifles?
Shotguns.
Shotguns. Okay, so why don't you tell everyone the difference between a rifle and a shotgun?
A rifle shoots a bullet, and they have bolt action, and that's for a more longer distance, and that can go through a lot of stuff. That if you shoot it in a house, it can go through walls, it can go through people, it can go long. A shotgun shoots a shell, and that comes out in a pattern, a big, the pellets. But those also, when they hit stuff, like it hits steel, the pellets flatten out and they won't go past. I mean, they'll go through a wall, but they're not going to go too far. And then
so they spray.
Yeah,
they have a bunch of pellets inside it. Okay,
and then a pistol is a handheld portable gun, and it's smaller. They have all sizes, and that's usually the one that people use for home defense. They have there's a couple different kinds of loads you can use, and the home defense one is called a hollow point, and that actually, when you use that, you're intending for it to do damage.
That's the ammunition. Correct. The hollow point.
Right, and literally the top of the bullet is like cut off. It's like a triangle without missing the tip, and when it hits something, it actually opens up. So it's not that itty bitty hole. It opens up into a bigger pattern, so it's doing damage the whole way of whatever you're shooting it with. So like a hog, per se, if you go to shoot a hog, you use a regular bullet, it can go through, and it's a clean cut, and it's not going to really, it could miss something. It might not do damage. You use a hollow point, and it's opening up about twice the size or a little bit bigger, and it's going to be a rugged hole and actually try to hurt it and try to kill it.
Well, see, and most people don't have hogs around, right?
Yeah.
And so we saw one not that far from here that had died. It was just, I was like, what? Mm-hmm. What? I didn't even know they had those around here.
Oh, there's more hogs in Texas than there are people.
And we mean wild hogs that are scary.
Not piggy, not like, yeah.
Yeah, they don't have them. I mean, people hear about them on Steve Irwin's show,
right,
when he had his show, The Hogs in Australia.
Yeah.
But we do have wild hogs here in Texas. And we are like not far from the city. So I'm just saying 10 minutes. Yeah. So if it's not a hollow point, it'll just go straight through somebody. That must be why at the gun shop, I saw a pretty pink little gun. Mm-hmm. And I know they're coming out with weapons, trying to appeal to women more. Mm-hmm. So they have smaller ones and very colorful weapons. And so a little pink one. And I was like, oh, that is so cute. Mm-hmm. And my husband and the guy at the counter just looked and was like, uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Well, and I was like, what? And they're like, you said you want it for defense. And I said, well, I'm just, well.
I have to look good doing it.
And they said, well, if you're going to get a gun, and you're going to use it, make sure that it knocks them down at least and not just make them mad. Right. And I'm like, but it'll put a hole in them. Does that not hurt them?
I mean, there's people out there that, are doing bad things, and your cop can shoot you and they'll knock you down. And when your adrenaline's going, you can put 9-10 bullets in someone and they can get right back up, or shoot you laying down, and then their adrenaline can, or whatever, they could be on something. For all you know, they could be, but they're pumping and they're going. One bullet won't necessarily stop you.
So is your accent a Texas accent or a Kansas accent?
I didn't know I had an accent.
You didn't know you had an accent? Well, people are hearing you. They know you have an accent. It's awesome.
Okay.
It's just awesome.
I didn't know. I think I'm blushing.
Okay. Now, Alexis, at 22, you've been shooting since you were a kid. Mm-hmm. And so for you, tell us about growing up with your dad and grandpa and brother, because you were the youngest.
Right.
So you're just following these people around to all these shows?
Yeah. It was like every day, you wake up, you go to school, and then on the weekends you go to shoots, and when you're a kid, the lifestyle at home is really the only lifestyle that, you're around and that you know of. So in my head, and I remember seeing you go to school and, you see someone else's lunch, man, they get that good stuff and I get this granola bar and man, that sucks. And you start to see, like the different lifestyles that they have at home, like you don't know, you only know yours. And then I'm used to being around guns and shooting, and, you want to make an extra buck. You sit down, next to your dad and you help him do reloads, like handmade reloads. And like, that's what I always knew. And
so does that mean helping him load is like handing him more like, ammunition?
Putting wads and a reloader to make your own ammunition.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't know that.
Well, see, when you're a kid and that's what you do every weekend, that's what you do. You don't really think that other people are doing other things because you don't know about that.
Now, your dad and your grandpa competed, right?
Right.
So you were going to competitions. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you were helping them get ready and reload.
Yeah, I was sitting there watching them and carrying their bags and just watching them. That's what I thought people did on the weekends, And then you go hang out you get older and you hang out with other kids and you go to their houses and there's not gun cases and there's not gun safes and bullets and reloaders and, oh, no, everybody lives that same lifestyle as you, and then you start to change your stories. Like, what do you do on the weekend? Oh, I just watch TV, because you tell them that, and then they don't understand it, and you don't want to explain it every time. So it's a different lifestyle that not everyone's used to, and you got to get used to not everyone else understanding that lifestyle.
Well, it sounds really neat. I think that for me, when what I've seen in you is that you're very feminine and you're very confident and you have high self-esteem, and yet you're very petite and you can shoot a gun. Okay. And so it makes me think of you as stronger, like strength, a power. And so I don't know if women understand that when you can protect yourself, you feel more confident, you have higher self-esteem. You don't have to depend on a man.
Right.
You can, you get with a man because you love him or you know, whatever. But it's not because you can't take care of yourself if you get in danger. And what I worry about is these men who, do have guns, right? Well, what about the women? What about when the men are gone and the woman's home alone?
That's true. Or
their kids are home alone. And I know for me, I was worried as I found more and more people had guns around us. I thought, well, if my kids are at their house and they come across a gun, because we do live in Texas, I want them to know what to do, to not touch it, or if they have to touch it, how to touch it, how to put it away, and just to be smart so that they don't end up getting hurt.
Right.
And for me, too, I wanted to be safe. Now, I have a black belt in karate, and this is what's so funny.
Yeah.
Because, my guy friends would be like, yeah, right, well, what are you going to do if he has a gun? And I'm like, well, I could take a gun from him. So then in karate, I started trying to learn how to take a gun and take a knife. But in the long run, I have to be close enough to do that.
Right.
And so over time, I've realized it's great. It's just, it's not completely safe.
Right. I've always been told that there are some people you go out to dinner with that you wouldn't shoot with, and then there's some people you shoot with that you wouldn't go out to dinner with. It's a respect thing. It's some people I shoot with, they're great people on the shooting range, but man, they're weird, or they're just goofballs, and I don't want to hang out with you. It's all a respect thing. And when I was a kid, I started learning that respect thing. And when you're handed a firearm, it's a huge responsibility, and knowing that a kid has that firearm in their hands, you get way more respect. I mean, I grew up with grown men shaking my hand and looking me dead in the eye and calling me ma'am, and not most kids do that. But I mean, I'm holding something that's just as strong as what they're holding. And I mean, when you compete, you're competing against all ages and all sizes, and everyone's equal. Everyone is the same, everything. And and also calling it a firearm, a weapon is used, to hurt, in the intention to hurt somebody. That could be a car. That could be a fork. Okay, and when you go to, your kid goes to someone's house, what's the chances of them getting in that car and doing something stupid is the same as there being a gun. You got to think about all of it too, because that firearm is really a firearm until it has bad intentions, and that's when it's a weapon. And I mean, I can understand being scared that your kid goes over to someone's house, but most of the time people have firearms as pleasure things, as enjoyment, and I don't think there's a lot of bad intention. And I know there's a lot of people out there that are against it or don't believe in it. And just like lawyers and cops, no one likes lawyers until they need one, and no one likes cops until nobody wants a gun until then, it might be the one, because the only thing that stops a bad gun is a good gun. So, I mean, there's times whenever you're right, you do need to teach your kid not to touch it, and when you're handed one, the first thing you always do, they can unload it in front of you, and when you get it in your hands, you unload it again and make sure that there's nothing wrong. But there's a lot of stupid mistakes that's happened, and I do think that you should teach your kids to not touch it, and if you do touch it, just to at least teach them how to unload it.
Yes. And I know that your father and grandfather, is it just your dad that teaches? He actually teaches hidden carry license. Is that what it's called?
That's a CHL.
CHL.
But no, we taught 4-H, and that's just safety orientations, and then teaching them how to shoot a gun. And if they want to further their career in that as doing it competitive, they can. If not, then they can just do it for fun on the weekends. So
he taught firearm safety to children.
Yeah.
And that's the 4-H. And he also, and you helped with that eventually?
Yeah.
And he teaches adults how to shoot and firearm safety as well. And so this isn't just a dad that's being irresponsible, letting his little kid hold
not at
guns
all.
or anything like that. And so he's very well trained in how to teach other people, and so is your grandfather. Now, your grandfather is very well known around a lot of, all around Texas and many other states. Tell me about your grandfather.
Oh, he's a hoot. His name, you go in certain parts of the town and you say his name and they know who he is. And it's kind of cool. You can look at the lineup when we go shooting and it's 4 Duncans. It's Duncan, Duncan, Duncan. And he's the oldest and he's the best and he's been doing it for so long. And he's got more trophies and belt buckles than he can count. It goes on. He's an awesome marksman. Actually, both grandpas shoot. He's the only one that did competitive trap, though.
Oh, your grandfather did competitive trap. And you do competitive trap, but your dad didn't do that.
He did. He doesn't now as much, but he used to do it a lot when he was younger, half his age now. Yeah.
So how did you, because I know you're a very competitive trap shooter, explain people, because I know a lot of people do know what skeet is.
Right.
And he took me out skeet shooting.
Okay.
And that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't shoot trap. I didn't even know what that was.
Okay.
And so he showed it to me and explained it. I didn't actually shoot it. So trap, the actual
targets
are going away from you at all different directions. You don't know where they're going to come out.
It oscillates left and right. Yeah.
But the skeet, it comes towards you. You know exactly where it's coming from. Every single time in the direction and everything. So that's probably why he had me start there, because I actually hit those eventually, because you know where they're coming from.
And you know where they're going. And
so that was cool. But I guess trap is harder.
I'm a trap shooter, so I like to say that it's harder, you have your general area where you start to know where the target comes out from. But it oscillates, and back in the day, people used to time it. They would count, try to keep track, so know what direction it's coming from. But now it oscillates so well. You can't keep track of that. I prefer to me, there's 2 different kinds of people. There's a skeet shooter and there's a trap shooter. And don't call me a skeet shooter. I don't hang out. I'm a trap shooter. I hang out with the old guys, and that's what I fit in with. And that's my thing. That's what I do. I don't like skeet. My dad always told me, well, if you want to be a good shooter, you got to be well-rounded. And no. No, I don't like it. I don't want to do it. And no, I'm shooting trap, and I've gone up and I've shot many trap shoots and stayed and got runner-up for state in 2008 in my subdivision. But ski, to me, it's all muscle memory, and you know where it's coming from and where it's going. I'm not as proud as shooting skeet as I am trap. Trap to me takes, state was 500 rounds. That's long. Takes concentration and talent in my eyes.
That's 500 target shooting that you have to hit? Is that what you mean?
In 3 days, yeah. It's divided up 500 targets into 3 days. So, yeah.
Well, and you shoot that with a shotgun? Okay. And those are big.
Yeah, they are.
Because one of the things for me was I was surprised at the weight. Okay. And I was thinking, if you have to hold this up for every target and shoot, and that's different with skeet, because you shoot a few and then it's over.
Yeah.
With trap, they just keep going and so you just keep holding it. You got to be strong. Now, you don't, you look at you and you're very unassuming. Because you're small. And so I'm trying to picture you. Now, we do have a picture on the show page.
Yeah, it's an old one.
If you go to livewellshow.com or voiceamerica.com and go to the Living Well Show page, or you can go to livewellshow.com to the show page and look at the guest information, and you will see her picture. She's petite. And so I picture you holding this shotgun and doing this and everything. And so we do have pictures of you doing that. And you have to be strong to do that. But if you've been doing it for a very long time, you've gotten stronger.
It's just muscle memory. You got to teach those muscles what to do, and they remember it for next time. And when I was shooting every day, I was stronger than I am now. But it actually helps to have And that's even related to home defense. And for trap, you want a heavier gun. You want a longer gun that makes you follow through better. That weight, once you keep going, it makes you move smoother. If you have a shorter gun, you can be jerky with it. You might not follow through. It's like baseball. You gotta keep going and follow through with it. So actually, for trap, I mean, you're talking about a 32-inch barrel. That's 32. That's heavy. You can have 34-inch barrel. For skeet, you have more of a 26 or 28-inch barrel, short. Like that's a couple inches taken off. But that's like for home defense. That's why a lot of people pick pistols. You can swing it around. You can move it around a lot more. You can and put it in smaller places. You can hide it better. That's what they like. Me, if I had a choice, I'd be protecting my home with a shotgun. That's what I feel more comfortable with. That's what I can do it with my eyes closed and reload it and take it apart with my eyes closed. Pistol, yeah, I can use a pistol and I can shoot something with a pistol, but I'm more comfortable with a shotgun.
And you're probably more accurate with a shotgun.
Probably, yeah.
And there is this joke that people say that it deters robbers and criminals from coming in your house when they hear the shotgun load.
Like the
So I can see you. I can picture this.
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah.
And so for you, I think you talked earlier to me when we talked before the show about the importance of women, whatever weapon they have, that they're comfortable with it. And so, and it's like, that's the importance of going to a shooting range or something like that. And so that you feel very comfortable, whether it's a handgun, whatever size, or a shotgun or a rifle or whatever, that it becomes kind of just muscle memory, as you're saying, that you feel comfortable with whatever.
Natural.
Yeah. And so I have little hands. Let me see your hands. Oh my goodness. Okay.
You're a little smaller.
Yeah. And so for you, the shotgun works better.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And you don't even have to, you could shoot a shotgun from your hip. You don't have to put it up. If guns freak you out a lot and they scare you a lot, don't even, like, if you're that scared. But if the bang is what scares you, you can shoot it, maybe a pistol is too much in your face, maybe, or a little bit. You can shoot a shotgun from your hip and tear some stuff up with it. You don't have to put it up to your face if you're that scared of it. But if you're that scared, I don't think you should have one anyways.
Yeah, you go smaller. I thought, okay, I've looked at smaller guns, but when I got to that little pink one, they were like, because I it was lighter, and my hands are smaller, so I thought, hey, this will work, and then, of course they all did start laughing, and I'm like, what? Well, there wasn't a pink, bigger one, okay. Of course, my daughter's like, Mom, really pink? So a lot of them I was just trying, and your dad took me out, and I had him on the show, 6 months ago, Kevin Duncan, and he was teaching about handguns. And so for him, he was showing me all the different sizes that would fit better in my hand and let me try them and let me shoot them. And it was really exciting to try all those and see the difference. And I was really surprised as far as handguns, which ones felt better. And I actually narrowed it down to one that would be easier. But until I started talking to you, I didn't realize how much better as far as shotguns in your house. I'm like, I can't even picture myself doing that. But I think it would be cool to have it if ever anyone tried to come in my house, right?
And you also have to think if you have children. If you have a house and you got 3 children, do you want to protect your house and something that can go through the wall to get that child? Or do you want something that's going to, hit that person or hit a wall and eventually stop? You can get shot in the elbow and it can bounce off stuff and go get you in your heart.
Yes.
Those things are, whatever you feel comfortable with, but you definitely don't want anything that can go through walls or anything like that.
Yeah, my kids are grown and gone now, so I don't have to worry about them coming across the gun in the house or anything like that. I think for people, that's a lot of their fear is that, well, what if my kids come across it? What if my kid, because you hear, of course, when it does happen, you do hear about it on the news, that something happened to a child who had a gun or another kid had a gun. But what do you have to say about that?
Why keep it a secret? Why hide it? And, you put a red button in front of a kid and say, don't push it. They're going to push it. You try to hide something from them. They're going to get curious. Educate them on it. Take it apart. You know what? Buy the gun and don't buy bullets yet. That whole day you have it, let them touch it. Let them see it. Let them figure out how it works. And if they figure out how it works, they know how to not use it. Because they have to know how to use it to know how to not use it. So, I mean, let them figure it out. Let them not play with it, but, figure it out and keep the bullet separate, then you keep the gun for them.
Is that what your dad did with you?
Oh, man, but to me, whenever I see it, and it's different to me. I look at it different. I've been used to, I'm used to it.
Yes,
I look at him all the time.
Still, they felt the way that he taught you when you were young, and you might not remember because you started so young.
Yeah.
It kept you safe.
Right.
It didn't put you in danger.
Right.
And I think that a lot of people would like to know how to do that because it does terrify them. Oh, if I have it in the house, kids will get it. Or, there's so much, possibility of teen suicide and things like that. People are just afraid of guns. And yet, what if somebody tries to break in their house or comes in their house?
Right.
My daughter was up at college in her apartment. And her roommate happened to be gone. But all the other apartments, right in their row in their building, got broken into. I mean, and some of them, of course, didn't have the door closed because it was during the day. And these guys walked right in and they had guns. And so they didn't have any protection, none of these kids. And thankfully, they didn't hurt any of the kids. They just stole anything of value right in front of them.
Trying to intimidate them.
Right. And so when I, of course, found out, I moved my daughter out of the apartment.
Yeah.
But also, I was just so thankful that she wasn't there.
Right.
And so that's when we started thinking more about, they're old enough. My kids are in their 20s. So it's like they're old enough to start learning how to do this more and be able to truly protect themselves.
Right.
And so I noticed that you carry.
I do.
I didn't know you have been in this building, and I've been watching you for quite a while, and my daughter as well. And I asked her because you mentioned that you carry. I was like, so I asked my daughter last night, who's 25. I said, "Did you ever notice that Alexis carries?"
I won't carry it into the building.
Oh, okay.
See, without a CHL, legally not doing anything wrong, you are allowed to have that firearm in your vehicle. And you're allowed, if you are pulling up in your driveway or you have to park down the street, it is 100% legal to carry that firearm from your vehicle to your house, sleep, wake up, carry that firearm from your house to your vehicle. But when it's in your vehicle, it needs to be concealed. And what concealed means is just not showing.
Yeah, and I think that most people don't realize that you don't have to have a license to have a gun.
Correct.
You just have to have a license if you're going to carry the gun with you.
Correct. And into a facility.
Right.
And even then, it can't be visible. There cannot be a bulge. It cannot be visible.
Now, you can carry it from your house into your car.
Correct. As long as it's straight there.
But it's got to be hidden in your car. It can't be where people can see it.
It has to be hidden in your car, but it can be visible to a normal person while you're walking, as long as you're not pointing it around, causing a scene. You can have it with your purse or whatever, and the handle might be showing. But as long as you're not causing a scene, you're going straight from your home to your vehicle to protect yourself, that is 100% okay.
Yes. Now, your dad has a CHL.
Correct.
Now, what is a CHL?
For you to be able to, and it matters for alcohol too. If the facility sells more than 51% of sales alcohol, you cannot carry the firearm with you in that facility, like a Chili's or something like that, whatever. But you can have it on your body, in your boot, on your back or whatever, but it can't be visible at all.
So your dad has a concealed handgun license.
Correct.
And he carries it right on his hip in a case.
No, that'd be open.
That's open carry. Okay, so he has an open carry license?
No, that's what the whole dispute is right now that they're trying to pass and all that. They might
in Texas.
Yeah,
because we have open carry in Texas.
Right.
So you don't have to have a license for that either.
You do.
Oh, you do.
You have to be able to have the license to conceal it to be able to open carry it.
Oh.
But in my opinion, I mean, not to get wrapped up in politics, but in my opinion, the big corporations are going to have signs. The big corporate like Walmart and all that, they have signs: no shirt, no service, and no shoe, no all that. The big corporations are going to make their mind up and decide if they allow open carry there or not. And I'm going to tell you right now, a lot of big corporations aren't going to allow it in there.
Okay.
So then you're going to be stuck to the independent places.
Okay.
So then if they all say no, pretty much you can have it on your hip while you pump gas, but you ain't going to be able to carry it in Walmart.
Okay. So your dad, the reason he can open carry is because he has a concealed handgun license.
Correct.
So if you have a concealed handgun license, then you can have it on you.
Right.
As you walk around, open carry or hidden.
Correct.
Okay. That's cool. That's interesting. Mm-hmm. All right. So I know when you were a kid, you also were diagnosed with celiac disease.
Yeah.
And when did you start having trouble with that?
Oh, I had trouble we didn't know what it was for a long time. We had trouble for probably, I was having pain for probably a year and a half or 2 years maybe before I even figured out what it was.
And at what age did you have heart surgery? Because I know
that was at like 16, 17. Yeah.
Okay. And so when we get back from break, we're going to take a short break. I want to talk more about that and how it affected your shooting, or really if it helped your self-esteem having that. We'll just talk more about that. And you're better now. So we definitely want to talk about that. Okay. So we'll take a break and we'll see you right back here.
Okay.
On Living Well.
Follow us on Twitter for more great ideas at Voice America Empowerment.
Life Solutions Coaching and Counseling in Fort Worth, Texas is a full-service wellness clinic providing individual, group, and family counseling, one-on-one coaching for life and wellness, and naturopathic treatments of medical massage therapy combined with essential oils to ensure you reach your health and wellness goals. Sessions are available in person or by phone. Get started on your new life today. Just call 817-232-1363 or go to lifesolutionscoachingandcounseling.com or email them at lifesolutionscc@yahoo.com.
Most married men experience frustration because there are things they want from their wives but don't know how to get them. Nothing seems to work. Desires are unfulfilled, fantasies unrealized, and relationships become stagnant. Men are desperate today for a richer, deeper, more satisfying, and intimate marriage. Dr. Jim Slaughter teaches men how to have the passionate, fulfilling marriage they've always wanted. Call 817-991-4964 or email jslaughterphd@yahoo.com to begin transforming your marriage into what you want it to be.
We're on Facebook along with some of the greatest minds of the world, and that includes you. Visit us on Facebook at Voice America Empowerment.
You are listening to Living Well with Ann Beal. We'd love to hear from you with comments and questions about the show. Please send us an email to ablivingwell@gmail.com. That's ablivingwell@gmail.com. Now, back to this week's show.
Hi, welcome back. This is Ann Beal, and I have a young lady here named Alexis Duncan, who is a state champion shooter in the state of Texas. And so we wanted to talk about young ladies in the shooting sports. And so that's what we talked about the first half. I did also bring up right at the end of the first half about Alexis being diagnosed as a very young child with celiac disease and then having heart surgery at age 7. Is that what you said, Alexis?
16, 17.
Oh, 16. Yeah, how did I miss that? Okay, 16. And so when I think of you carrying these shotguns, right? Carrying a shotgun and competing with shotguns. But I also think of you with celiac disease. You had to have been weak with celiac disease. If you tell people what it is, do you mind doing that?
It's an autoimmune deficiency, which means it just I guess it's your brain is what tells it that it's doing it wrong. Eating a sandwich to most people, your body breaks it down and eats it. And everything's fine. For me, for some reason, the body just says, no, that's not okay. And it turns against itself and starts doing damage to your intestines.
And that's because of gluten.
Gluten, wheat, barley, rye. Yeah, there you go.
I was trying to remember. Yeah, it's the gluten, the gooey. It's like the bread, when you squeeze bread, the stuff that makes it real soft, right?
Yeah.
And so celiac disease is the effect of gluten on the colon.
Small intestines.
Yeah. And so you would actually get the bleeding sores and the lesions on all over your colon and intestines. Yeah. And so how would that affect you? What would happen?
Oh, I was in pain every day, waking up and pain after every meal.
Like doubling over pain?
Like that can't walk pain.
Yeah, because I would think if it's your intestines bleeding, if you think of that picture, that would be incredibly painful. Did it feel like your stomach was burning, or what did it feel like?
Oh, I don't. It just feels. It's a pain I don't wish on anybody. It's a deep, sharp pain. Something's not right. Something ain't right.
And you started having trouble with that at how young?
I remember going to middle school, and I remember one day I was in PE, and I didn't think anything of it. But you grow up and you look back and you just remember weird stuff. And I remember thinking, today I don't hurt. And it was weird. Like I was like, I can actually participate and it doesn't hurt. And I don't know what I did differently. Maybe I hadn't eaten that day. I don't know. But I remember, so I was so used to being hurting every day that it was weird to not hurt. And certain things made it hurt more, but mostly just eating in general, drinking water, anything would hurt.
Wow, yeah. And that would really affect your ability to pay attention in school.
Yeah. I was on some pretty strong painkillers at a young age for that, yeah. But some people don't even have that symptom. Some people have migraines instead of belly aches. Some people just don't have symptoms at all. It's different for everybody.
My daughter was very sick as well. And so when I know that you were sick like that, I can't, she was very weak at times, not all the time, but yeah, she pretty much felt sick every day. She got used to it. I mean, she is one tough thing. Yeah. And she's better now. And I think for people who don't really understand, a gluten intolerance is what they call it, meaning that it's like poison ivy on the skin, the way the skin reacts. Everybody reacts to poison ivy where you get the lesions on the outside, the sores, the bleeding, the itching. And so with gluten inside your body, when it hits the outside of the intestines, it's a raw skin. And so it causes the same thing on the outside of the skin of the intestines. It's like
inside.
It's not, yeah. And it's not covered in a skin. It's just what's inside it, And so it just does the same thing. It gets the sores and the lesions all over and then bleeding but it's inside the body. And so it causes that reaction like poison ivy. That's why they call it an intolerance. And apparently the research shows that they say that everyone truly is allergic to the oil, the burning sensation of poison ivy. Some people will say they're not, and I think that most people will break out, and other people, for some reason, just don't break out as bad. So it's a sensitivity, right? And it's painful, and it's horrible, and it spreads. Okay, so if you think of that inside the body, for people who have the gluten intolerance, and most people had heard about celiac, they started hearing about celiac disease over the last 15 years.
It's pretty fresh, actually.
Yes. Yeah. And then that's mainly the intestines. Well, yes, you're right. Since then, they've discovered that wheat, barley, rye, and oats gluten it causes inflammation of the brain. It causes inflammation of the joints, the body. I mean, so they've changed that. If it's just the intestines, they call it celiac disease, because of those symptoms and the way it affects you and everything. But if it's another part of the body, they just call it gluten intolerance. Yeah,
and it kind of sucks, man. Some people say they have a gluten allergy, and I'm like, are they on a gluten diet? I'm like, you're choosing to live this lifestyle? Like, you like eating a salad every day for lunch, and you're choosing that? Since I've gotten older, the side effects have changed. And some people that say they have a gluten allergy, they break out or something, or they can just throw it up later. And it's actually, they don't feel good. And, they might have a breakout or a rash or something. But it's not actually doing that much of as deep as damage as it does for celiacs. And me, I'm like, man, I would be eating that stuff for fun. You're just, I can't wrap my head around why maybe they feel better. We'll look into, maybe you do have an allergy you don't know about if you're just doing it for a diet and you feel better. But that's the thing, celiacs, so many people go undiagnosed for so long because you don't go in there and say, test me for that. It's not some test that they just all the time run on you. They have to specifically do that one test. And if you don't know about it and people don't know about it, how do they know to test you for it?
Yes, so how long did it take them testing you before they found out?
Oh my goodness. It turned me against doctors, and I'm sorry to all the doctors. Man, I have such a negative. They took a long time of just pain and medication and frustration
So was it years? It was years, wasn't it? And same thing for my daughter. It was years. And but the nutritionist, when I finally gave up on doctors really helping, and then she was getting worse, I took her to a nutritionist, and they're good. The minute. Yep. She saw her symptoms. We'd written them all down, and she knew exactly what it was. And so I encourage you guys. I'm going to have Alexis describe more of what's happened to her, and then eventually the heart surgery. If you have a child with or a person with these symptoms, because you still have some symptoms.
Yeah.
Because I saw them the other day. You want to get to a nutritionist or a naturopathic doctor if they have them in your state. In our state, they don't have them, which I just hate, or a chiropractor, because they know a lot about nutrition as well. And so that you can get the treatments for the chronic condition of celiac disease or even gluten intolerance, because MDs are not taught really how to treat that. MDs are not taught how to really what causes anything chronic or how to cure anything chronic. But naturopathic doctors are, and nutritionists are, chiropractors are. MDs are taught about acute. I mean, they're great with surgery and bone breaks and all that kind of stuff. They're taught acute things in med school. The only thing they're taught with anything chronic is how to manage the symptoms with medicine. So they were managing your symptoms as you were getting sicker and sicker and sicker.
Yeah, pretty much. They actually told me to keep eating what I was eating until they could run the test. So they were wanting it to get worse so that it would show up more in tests. And I'm like, you're making me do this for how long are you gonna make me tell me to keep doing it until
it's painful?
Yeah, come on, man.
And it's very hard on your body to do that.
Tired. I mean, I can sleep for 19, 20 hours and not wake up once.
Because celiac disease is a lot of damage already. When they diagnose you with celiac disease, you've had a lot of damage already to the intestines. And then eventually, as they keep going in there managing your symptoms, you end up without a colon. They take it out and they put you on a bag, a
colostomy bag.
Your
intestine, yeah.
And then everyone I know who's had that has had surgery after surgery after surgery. And so my goal for you is to get you well.
Yeah.
And so for you were having the double over pain. You were exhausted and sleeping for days. What else?
When I eat, I actually look, whether I chug a bottle of water or I eat, I look like 6 months pregnant.
Yeah, your stomach swells.
I look like one of them little kids on a National Geographic magazine with the huge belly. Like, huge belly.
Well, and you're very small. So, yeah I would think that would clearly show. Now, I haven't heard that too much, but I have seen it a couple times where you eat anything. That's why you said even water.
Yeah.
It swells.
It's agitated. It's mad.
And so for you, what does that do? How can you, do you just not eat anytime you're out?
Well, not drink? If it's a date, I'll tell you that. Because, and I was a bartender for 3 years, and I'm not going to eat on my lunch break because I ain't going to be that pregnant lady behind the bar. I mean, that just looks bad. I'm sorry. And I've had people, like, I was at a Fuzzy's Taco one day, and I just was eating, and it was huge. And, it's summertime, I'm wearing a tank top, and I look 6 months pregnant. And there's a little girl running around playing, and I just smirked at her. And the dad goes, "Hope for a boy." Yeah, I'm going to stomp you on your toe. I'm like, I'm not pregnant.
You're so tough. I'm going to stomp you on your toe.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So you have the swelling belly, which that's what I noticed now. That sometimes I never noticed till you told me. It's not
I wear
like
baggy
I saw
clothes.
you.
Yeah.
Okay. And then when you were a kid, what else happened?
Well, I remember forgetting things, just silly things that I should know. I was starting to forget, and I was starting to, when my mom's like, "I told you, I don't remember that. You just have selective hearing." No, I really heard you. I just, don't remember. And it was just, couldn't remember things. And then we figured out, well, if your body can't absorb calcium and nutrition and all this vitamins and, all that stuff, how are you supposed to withhold any information in your head? How are you supposed to make your brain grow if it's not eating? And that was some of the problem. Was I was just forgetting things because it wasn't getting what it needed to grow. So,
which affected your school, I would think.
Oh yeah.
Did it affect your shooting? If you're forgetting.
Well, I mean, what affected it most was being weak. I was 85 pounds, and I was like 5 foot, maybe 5'1". I was 00 in jeans.
Goodness.
And my lungs were sticking out. My spine was all. Actually, with the school called my parents, and they accused me of having an eating disorder. Because I looked at that skin. Well, and two, I'm getting sick every time I eat, so of course it looks bad.
Right.
But yeah. I was skinny.
Well, and that's what happens with celiac disease and gluten intolerance. If it affects the gut, they have found since they diagnosed celiac disease and came up with the diagnosis. They've been studying gluten, and it's the new gluten problem is from they've changed the actual gene. They've done gene altering on plants like wheat, barley, rye, and oats so that it actually has a part of its ingredients now in the actual gene. They spliced it with, what do you call it? Not what they spray on the fields to kill bugs. Bug killer. What do you call that? Pesticides.
Yeah.
So, and they actually put it into the actual, that's the splicing of the gene to alter the gene so that when they grow wheat, barley, rye, and oats now, they don't have to spray the fields.
Okay.
And that's been 20 years now, right? And so what's happened is for people who have problems with pesticide inside their body, I'm surprised everybody doesn't. So what they found is celiac disease. That's what some people just hit their outer layer of their colon and intestines and it just starts getting lesions. They've also found since then that the brain gets inflamed and that makes it, that's part of why you got so forgetful. And so that's why a lot of people are trying to not have gluten because they don't want to get celiac disease. And they want to be able to retain better in their memory. A lot more people are starting to walk into a room and forget why they came. And it's horrible, or not remember where they parked their car or whatever. So people are reading about what it does, right? But the motivation to go without gluten, because it is very, very, very hard.
It's in products you would never think, like dairy. Okay, so you think that, I'm not going to have bread, so I'm going to have a salad with grilled chicken and cheese on it. All right, well, all those little pieces of cheese in a package, how are they not sticking together?
Right.
They're coated, and some are different than others, but they can be coated in like a little floury powder. And then to maybe a person that's on that diet for their self, it might not affect them. It's not going to be enough to affect them. But a person like me, I eat that. And it's just like I ate a whole loaf of bread.
That is why the difference why you're super motivated to not eat it because of the severe effects it has on you.
Right.
And so people who don't have those severe effects, they just want to so they never get these problems, right? It is very hard to stick to. And it's very hard to know because even French fries, they cover them in a powder so that they turn brown, like a prettier color.
Right.
And so part of it is realizing what gluten is on everything. But yeah, I would think 100% the weakness would have affected your ability to shoot. Because for how good you were and everything, and you are, I mean, it's amazing to me what you can do now, that when I hear about how sick you were at the same time growing up, if you hadn't been sick like that, I mean, watch out, who knows? I mean, you'd have been one of the best out there.
Yeah, it made me miss a couple of practices every now and then because I didn't feel good, and I don't know, man. I'd like to not think it stopped me from getting too far.
Because you're far. You're already far.
Right. But it could have affected it a lot.
So you didn't have a lot of excuses because I was like, did that stop you doing this? That stopped you? And you're like, no.
Well, you learn to deal with it.
Yeah. But you kind of learned that mentality from your family, I think.
Yeah.
So so heart surgery came when you were 16.
Yeah.
So tell us about that.
Yeah, I was on beta blockers when I was 15. You're 15 years old walking up to a pharmacist saying, I'm here to pick up my medication. And they're looking at it like, this is what 80-year-old, 90-year-olds take, and they're looking at you like, are you sure this isn't your medicine? Because, I remember I went to school and I fell down a flight of stairs and I woke up at the bottom of it. And then I was like, oh, I'm a dork. I just got up and went to class. I didn't think anything of it. And then I was on a heart monitor for a while and couple months, and then finally it was hurting real bad. I was on my way to school actually, and I got to the nurse's office, and I want to say I had my heart monitor with me, and they said, well, we can call an ambulance and this and that, and you can call your parents. And my dad, I'll be there right now, So he comes and he takes me to the hospital, and they had to restart my heart.
Goodness.
And then back in the day when they gave me the heart monitor, they told me, well, there's this surgery you might kind of need in the future, depending on how it goes. And then after they restarted my heart, they're like, well, there's this surgery you might need in about a week. So now you're going to have to prepare yourself to have heart surgery in a week. That was fun.
It was like the most painful thing you've ever felt?
Restarting the heart hurt more than the heart surgery.
Really?
Yeah. But there's two places they can go in. They can go in your main arteries, which is one in your neck, and one in your groin, your leg, where your leg bends. And they went through my leg. They prepped both of them just in case, but they went on me. They went through my leg. So.
Wow. You were one tough thing, and that was when you were 16. You had the surgery.
Yeah.
And then how long recovery?
I stayed in bed maybe about a week. Went to school after that.
You're kidding me.
No.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
It is amazing what they can do with the heart. And that's the kinds of things MDs are definitely trained in.
Right.
It is amazing. So you went to school in a week. Goodness. See, it is amazing to me because I'm a counselor and a life coach. How many excuses I hear. Not really in life coaching. I don't hear that many excuses ever. But in counseling from grown adults because their foot hurts or their toe hurts or I'm looking at you.
Suck it up.
And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, you went right back to school. And
I limped.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Because
I limped for like a little while before I could walk straight again.
Did they take the artery right out of your leg?
Do what?
To fix your heart, did they take the artery? They do take an artery.
They didn't take nothing out.
Oh, good.
It should be all in there.
So why'd you limp?
Because it hurt, man. They bruised me. It was all purple and blue, and every 15 minutes they come in there looking under your sheet. Quit looking under there, man. Leave it alone. It'll get better itself.
Just stop.
Yeah.
Okay. And now you're 22, so that was 6 years ago.
Yeah.
So you are a lot better.
Yeah.
So you don't have the double over pain anymore?
Occasionally. Sometimes you'll eat something that you don't know how it was prepared. You got to think down to the smallest part. Residue.
Yeah.
You talk about French fries. Even though those fries can be gluten-free, but is it being fried in grease that they fried chicken in?
So when you come across it by accident, because you really try to not get it.
Right.
Because you're 22, okay? Because my daughter's 23, and there are times she'll go, I'm just going to eat it. I know they'll get sick. Yeah. But it's painful. It's not good for you. Okay. Yeah. But I would think that's human.
Yeah.
You're like,
temptation.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. That is quite interesting to hear all that. It is so hard to believe. When you look at you, you'd never know you've been through all this hardship.
Yeah. It's not that bad.
So what do you do now?
I just quit bartending. I bartended for a while. I just quit that to come work for my dad's company. And
what is that?
Industrial pumps. Pumps that move acid or water or anything, jelly, juice, anything. It breaks, they call us, and we try to repair it or get new parts and send it back to them.
So what's the name of the company?
Applied Process.
Applied Process.
And
you help in there.
Yeah.
What do you do there?
I'll go with them, or I'll help do write checks or file booking or quotes and stuff. And you get a call, you put on your hard hat and your steel-toe boots, and you go out there and check it out and see what they need.
Well, I know that you come in every day with your hair beautiful, with a baseball cap on.
Yeah.
And your jeans and your boots. And I mean cowboy boots.
Yeah.
Nice, fancy. Those are fancy cowboy boots.
I wore them to prom.
And she looks very feminine. Okay. And so, but she looks good. And yet she looks strong and confident and just as sweet as you can be. And I wanted to have you on so you could inform people about both parts of your life. You are a very well-rounded person.
Yeah.
I think that your dad's saying you need to be well-rounded with all kinds of shooting, right? You would say, well, no, I don't. I just need to be able to protect myself and have fun.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so shooting trap for you is fun.
Yeah.
And being able to protect yourself gives you peace.
Yeah. It's made me a little more confident at times than I should have. I've given a few people some rides or on the side of the road that I stopped and helped somebody that I probably shouldn't have. But since I'm aware that what I have in my pickup and I know how to use it, I'm not as scared. But I feel like I can hold my own if I need to.
So everybody listening is like, don't do that again.
Oh, yeah. I've gotten yelled at by a few scary people.
I bet. And your dad, I bet, is just
he don't know.
Oh, well, he will.
Oh, yeah. But, when I was bartending, I was leaving that bar at 3, 4 in the morning. Right. And you see someone on the side of the road or you go to a gas station and there's a drunk. Like, I don't want them to get in trouble. I'll give you a ride home and I ain't gonna tell them to get in the back of the pickup, so you can sit in the front. But I wouldn't do that if I didn't know I had a firearm in there.
Right.
Yeah.
So you said it made you a little too confident.
So at times.
Yes.
But that's me. I get confident sometimes.
You get confident.
Yeah. I'll push my limits a little bit.
Well, and I think that being feminine and being strong and being confident and having high self-esteem is what we all want to be, women out there. We want to be beautiful and strong and confident and have high self-esteem and have a great job and feel safe and everything it takes to live well. So we want to just let you know we're praying for you for your
thank you.
Stomach and double over and the celiac disease. I know you're a lot better and we talked to you about nutrition and the naturopathic doctor that we have that only works with nutrition now here, and the essential oils and everything was talking to you. So I look forward to getting you totally, we can't say cured because it's not allowed.
It doesn't go away.
Well, they say that's what they say.
Yeah.
But it can. And so in the naturopathic world, we're not allowed to say heal. We can say anything we do with animals, we can say that it cures animals, but we're not allowed to say it with people. We're only allowed to say to have all your symptoms go away. So the Living Well Show wants all your symptoms to go away, and we look forward to that. I know you do, because I was talking to you about it, and you're like, well, if you can just get my stomach not to swell, that would be great. So we thank you for joining us. It's wonderful. We'll have you on again in the future to hear all about all of your new pursuits. Thank you for being on.
Thank you for letting me.
And we'll see you guys next week. Just get us back here at livingwellshow.com, at Voice America Living Well, next week on Wednesday. Take care and have a great week.
Thank you again for joining us. Living Well with Ann Beal airs live every Wednesday morning at 7 a.m. Pacific Time, 10 a.m. Eastern Time on the Voice America Empowerment Channel. We can't wait to see you again next week.